Ancio, and I am the Bronx Community Board 7 Housing, Land Use, and Economic Development Chairperson. Uh, the On January 2023, Major Adams issued Executive Order 315, extending the state of emergency through February 19, 2023. Accordingly, boards are able to continue to act under the state of emergency section of the Video Conferencing Law, Chapter 56 of the laws of 2022, Part WW. This allows the boards to continue remotely. Minutes and video recording will be made available on our website. If you're calling into the meeting on a landline or cell phone, to hear all available commands, enter *start on your phone, *6 to mute or unmute yourself, and *9 to virtually raise your hand. This is how we will run this meeting. The code of conduct for the meeting is as follows. Bronx Community 7 has the right to remove or ask a member of our public to leave a meeting or block participation of anyone who engages in inappropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene or offensive images or language, personal attacks, threats, or any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the building. Repeatedly, offenses will be reviewed by the Board Executive Committee and or other assigned committee for a ban of the participant. The amount of time to be objectively determined by the above committees in the event of repeated disruptive behavior. If in-person outbursts or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing the peace and the authorities shall be summoned. Everyone besides the speaker, a presenter will stay muted throughout the meeting. After each presentation is over, I will inquire if committee members have questions. Committee members will signify that they have questions by pressing the raise hand button on your screen or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Members of the public who have joined through the online link will be able to ask questions and make a brief statement on the item after each presentation and after the committee has had an opportunity to ask clarifying questions by pressing the raise hand button on your screen or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Only those recognized by the chair of the committee will be allowed to speak during the allotted time. We will continue on topic with the agenda items. Any other items will be acknowledged by the chair in new business or addressed at the next meeting, granted there is time and the committee agrees on the topic. Following the question, discussion, and public comment portion, the committee will begin the discussion after each presentation agenda item and will conclude with a decision to vote on a recommendation. When the agenda is finished, the meeting will be adjourned. If there are any questions related to meeting software or to our progress, please use the chat function or raise hand function now or contact the Deputy District Manager or CV7 staff. So the agenda today is as follows. We'll just write the meeting guidelines. We're going to be doing attendance, approve the previous minutes, and then have a brief conversation about businesses and extending their goods into the sidewalk. And then we will have a small presentation from CHB 202 and 203, Fordham Landing updates, some other just updates, and then updates from the Kingsbridge Armory, HPD, DCP, and CCHR if we have anyone available to give those comments. So moving on, I'm going to take attendance. Eric Asensio, I'm here. Sandra Erickson,
Sandra Erickson is present.
Myrna Calderon. Not typing. Mabubu Jewel,
Mabubu Jewel present.
Edgar Ramos,
Edgar Ramos present.
Helene Red, and Barbara Stranson.
Barbara Strongton is present.
Thank you. So let's move on to approve the minutes from December, since we didn't meet in January. Did everyone get a chance to review those minutes? Jay, can you pull them up? I'm sorry. Do you have them available?
Hello? Yes, I can pull them up. Give me 1 second to pull it up.
I will stop sharing. So on December 6th, we had an update about no, we had no updates about Fordham Landing. We were still waiting for the HPD Connect application on CHP and 202 and 202 to come live, which I believe now it has. And we had a presentation from the Kitchener Armory from EDC about what their finding was from November 5th workshop. And we had an update from Douglas Development 2058 Webster on their application going live on HPD Connect. So moving on, all the members of the committee say aye to approve the minutes.
Should I make a motion to approve the
Yes,
minutes
can
as
we make a
presented?
motion? I'm sorry, that's what I meant.
Okay. Motion to approve the minutes as presented by Sandra.
I second the motion.
Thank you. Everyone that agrees, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks. So moving on with the agenda. So we have been going back and forth with DCWP, who is the people who used to be consumer affairs. And we have been getting a lot of questions from Sirio and from Andrew about where does it extend, where do we extend to the sidewalks, right? Do businesses have the right to extend to the sidewalks? How far along, etc. So in communication with them in regards to particularly the tire shop on 204 and Jerome, they say that they have a license with this agency. They will come eventually to take a look and review. But from my understanding is that the extent of where they have their products has to do more with the Department of Sanitation and NYPD. Is that correct, Carla? Right? That was what you gathered too?
Yeah, that's correct.
And in the agenda, you guys will find links as to what items they will look at in their inspections, which doesn't really serve the purpose what we were trying to, I guess, get to. So I guess at this point, we just have to call to 311 or something in order to get these items on the radar of the NYPD and sanitation to get them more, to them to react to it. Sarah, you have a question?
Anybody from the board first? Okay, my question, of course, is I missed a couple of meetings. I apologize for that. Did they ever send a representative to any of the housing meetings? Is my first question.
No,
No.
we haven't had a representative, but now they are aware of the issue and they are going to come to the business.
Okay, if we remember what I understood, because I could be incorrect, is that because of the refund the police movement that failed, the businesses were not going to be dealt with the police department. They wanted the consumer affairs to be going in there and talking to these people. So now we get a call, now you get a response saying that, once again, which we all knew, enforcement has to be done by the police department and sanitation.
Mm-hmm.
But the major question is, are there permits for stores that are not restaurants to take over the streets and across? And did they send any, I'm sorry, what I'm trying to think of, details of how far out a store goes and the responsibility of bringing stuff back?
Mm-hmm.
We now have problems along 204th Street where people are building out from the store. And they made a permanent enclosure that was not in part of the building, the original building plans. And who's enforcing this? And if we go to the police department, they're gonna say, well, that's a business building. That's a building.
Right. So we concentrated specifically on the tire shop, like I mentioned. Let's talk offline, Serial, and you can point out another or other businesses that you have
Yeah, I apologize
that you
for
have
it, 'cause
seen,
Sandra
and
had
then
requested.
we can have Carla circle back with them in the near future.
Okay, so I will follow up.
But from what they said in their response is that they will come to the business because the business does have a license with the DCWP.
Right. Well, one business I did write an email about was Golden Produce on 204th Street. And they
Mhm.
still to this day extend so far out that people have to walk in the tree pit to get by their store. And
I
that,
know exactly which one you're talking about.
right. And they still to this day are out there and it's falling on deaf ears.
Okay, we'll add this to our list, Carla. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next follow-up on the agenda is from CHB.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. My
Thank
name
you.
is, you're welcome. My name is Francesca Brown. I'm Senior Project Manager at Canva Housing Ventures. And I've been working on this project since the beginning and working with Community Board 7 and HPD on this project. Just a quick recap of the building. It's two buildings on 202nd and 203rd Street between Briggs and Valentine Avenues. 323 units, 40% affordable lottery, 60% supportive, ranging from 30% to 80% of the area median income. We are wrapping up construction and our HPD Housing Connect lottery has gone live. So that means that the community members, as well as anyone in New York City, can apply for the lottery for our development, which we have renamed the Bronx Grove. So when you're on Housing Connect and you look for Bronx developments, look for the Bronx Grove. and submit your applications. We have a representative from HPD on the call. Her name is Anna. She has been working with Community Board 7 over the past several weeks to come up with some tutorials to engage the public and to also educate the public on how to correctly and successfully complete a profile on Housing Connect, as well as to how to submit. So Anna, I'll hand it over to you and to Eric, because I know you guys have some updates for the community.
All right. Thank you, Francesca. It's nice seeing you again. Sorry, guys, I don't have a camera. We have actually dates, which spoke to Carla today, and we came up with the dates. I don't know if Carla already mentioned it to you, but if it's okay with Carla, I can probably say it here. Is that okay with you, Carla?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
That's okay.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Anna.
So the dates that Carla have chosen for you guys, it will be Saturday, the February 25th from 10 to 12, and that will be in English. And then we have Wednesday, March 1st from 6 to 8 in Spanish. So I am working on the slides so they can be in Spanish for the presentation. So what is it that we're going to cover when we're doing this presentation? We're going to cover a few things. First, how to register, how to set up a profile, how to review an advertisement, how to edit a profile, and how to apply online versus paper application. And we are going to discuss all of that with your project in mind, which is Bronx Grove. I always say groove. I guess it sounds better dancing. Anyway, so growth. But so yes, we are going to have your project in mind. And when we are actually doing this presentation, your project is the one that we're going to discuss on, and how they can find it and how they are able to apply for your project. So it's more dedicated more to your project, the whole presentation. And in the same time, we're actually teaching them if they have questions as well, we are able to answer, which is a good part of the having this open. Talking to Carla, she mentioned that it will be at least 20 to 25 people. Hopefully you guys have more, because that way you have more opportunity to have more people applying to your building, and the process of selecting a person to move in, it's much easier and faster. So if you guys have any questions for me, definitely can bring it up now. I know Carla and I mentioned that there will be another presentation done, which is going to be the webinar. So I don't know if you guys are going to need me for the webinar. So I don't even know if you guys already selected a date, which is probably going to be based on Francesca and you guys. So I give it back to Eric. Thank you so much, Francesca. And that's about it for me for now.
Thanks, Anna. I know Community Board 7 does an excellent job of putting blasts out on their website, Facebook. I've seen things on Twitter. So I'm sure this information will be spread far and wide using those methods. Earlier this week, when I had approval of the HPD ad, the standard template, I emailed that to Community Board 7. So the team has, board members have that, and they also have a fact sheet, just a 3-page document that my team here at Canva Housing Ventures came up with, just to provide an overview of the project, to reiterate affordability and also other benefits in the project that are not included in the Housing Connect ad. So just wanted to put that out there.
My only question is, what is the deadline for the
For the
application?
lottery? Yes,
Yes.
it is April 11th.
April 11.
Yes.
Okay, that gives us at least 2 months, right?
That's correct.
to have people apply.
Plenty of time, and we wanted to make sure that we're getting the information out to members and citizens specifically in Community Board 7 first. That's why we've been attending all of the meetings and just giving you guys periodic updates. So it's live. We have lots of information coming your way, and we have a lot of visual information that you can share in your networks.
Great. So Carla just posted the link to the, I guess, marketing brochure on the chat for everyone else to look at. All right, and the only other question that I see on the chat, Francesca, is if you can share, now that the project is pretty much finished, if your company can share local hires, how many, just for or stats.
Right. So we had during construction, we had 3 construction job fairs. Community Board 7 shared information. We put flyers up around the community. I can provide turnout information for that and hiring information as well. And we also have permanent job positions that will be coming up. So those will be posted on Canva's website. The website that we've shared with CB7 in the past, where we just put all of our open positions, and there are plenty of open positions. So please go to canva.org and look at the career or the jobs link, and there will be a whole listing of jobs in the Bronx and throughout New York City. We can provide specifics on jobs related to this project as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone from the committee have questions for Francesca or Anna? Yes, Edgar?
I'm just wondering, because I know we have brought it up in previous presentations, and they keep saying they'll get us the information, but yet we still haven't received any of the information on local hires.
So I just mentioned that we will get that information to you. In the last committee that I attended, I did mention that we had 3 local job fairs. And we sent the information to Community Board 7. We even had a few officials drop by just to see how things were going, just to see how the job fairs were going. So we'll get that info to you.
All right, thank you. Serial?
Yes, good evening. I'm a member of the community. My question is for Francesca. Out of the 600 apartments there, how many apartments are suited for families with children?
We don't have 600 apartments. We have 323.
I'm sorry, 323 availability. I'm sorry.
Right, that would be
I
too
thought it
many
was
apartments.
My bad.
It's okay. It's okay. So there are 323 units.
Thank you.
We have the way the project is broken down is 25% of the units are for singles. They're 25% studios. And then we have 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. So the remaining 75% of the project is for individuals and families. We don't control who can go in and reside in a 1-bedroom. As you may know, a 1-bedroom could be assigned to a single individual. It could also be assigned to a family. We won't have that information until we lease up and we know exactly who is in the development. But as far as the 2 and 3 bedroom units, we have 82 2 bedrooms and 32 3 bedrooms. So that's 114 units that are absolutely going to be for more than one person, for families.
I'm sorry, could you repeat them numbers again?
So if you click that the link that Carla sent, all of this information is there.
You just said 82, and what was the other?
82 2 bedrooms. Oh, excuse me, it's 82 bedrooms because 2 of those include the supers. So 82 bedrooms and 32 3-bedroom units. That
Thank-
gives you 112.
Okay, and the building itself, what resources will be for the tenants and their children to, I know, what kind of, resource the building has?
So page 2 of the brochure that Carla sent has all that information, but just to
I'm not-
reiterate,
I do not get that stuff.
no, she just put it in the chat, so you can click and see, to have for future reference, but the project is the same as it has been over the past 2 years that I've been presenting. It has 24-hour, 24/7 front desk security. We have supers residing in each building. We have the drive-through that we built to avert traffic from the narrow streets. So when people move in, the U-Haul or the truck can move into the driveway and people can unload without obstructing traffic. We have indoor bicycle parking. We have on-site laundry, computer lab, multi-purpose room. We have a gym. We have a community kitchen. The project is named the Bronx Grove because we have a landscape courtyard that's in the back, which only tenants have access to. So they'll have a private courtyard. The project is an energy efficient project. So that's also an amenity to reduce energy costs for tenants and for operations. And so those are just a few of the amenities, but the main amenity that we are most proud of is that we have a social service suite in the cellar of each building. And CAMBA will be providing social services to any resident in the building who needs or wants social services. So access to SNAP, access to healthcare, access to educational resources. It's there, it's to no cost to the tenants, and that's one of the best amenities that we offer.
And you can see that courtyard landscape in the brochure serial as well.
Mhm.
Sandra?
Beautiful.
Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know, generally speaking, when there's a 1-bedroom is for 1 to 2 people, 2-bedroom is 2 to 4, and a 3-bedroom is 4 to 6 people. So that's the guidelines there.
Thank you.
To add that.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? The guidance that we have is a studio can fit 2 people, and that 2-bedroom.
Are there studio? Oh, I didn't know there were
Yes,
studios here.
25% of the project is studios. So we have
Okay.
we have 80 studios.
Okay, we have because that's what I do. I do housing like this, and studios for 1 person, 1-bedroom is for 1 to 2, 2 is 2 to 4, and 3 is 4 to 6.
Okay, so that
perhaps
that has changed.
but that might be for supportive housing could be different too.
Yeah. All right, well, we will learn all of that and more at Anna's workshops on February 25th and March 1st.
Yes, correct.
Any other questions in regards to this project? All right, well, thank you, Francesca. Great to see you one more time. You're like part of the committee now, almost.
I'm so proud to be a part of this community board. You guys are great.
Can I have one quick question? Do you have is there broadband in the building for the tenants?
The building is wired with Verizon and also with Altice. So tenants will have the option to select. We wanted to provide 2 options so that tenants could find the best deal and create competition. So they're not like me and stuck with just one.
Are you paying for the
No,
tenants?
we are not.
Or?
The tenants will have to pay their own broadband expenses.
Okay, because Verizon does have a program for people of low income. I think they pay $24 a month. So you can check that. I don't know if you've heard about that because we're doing something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so once that ladder is closed and then you guys are able to open the building, let us know.
Will
Keep
do.
us posted.
I will.
All right, so moving on with the agenda, we have a brief update from Fordham Landing. If you see on the agenda, there's a link that a brownfield cleanup application has been filed with New York State. So, this is kind of like testing of the soil, etc., to find out if any chemicals or whatnot are in this property. So apparently things are starting to move ahead at Fordham Landing.
Eric, do you know, does the CB7 know if there's been a phase 1 done on the property? A phase
That's a
1
good
environmental
question.
report?
That's a good question. We would have to I will follow up with that. Yeah, it will be good to have a copy of that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
And as you all have heard in the news, we are getting a lot of asylum seekers in New York City. So the staff wanted us to be aware that some hotels are being used in not only in the city, but also here in the Bronx at 163rd Street. They open one to host asylum seekers. So if this is something that's gonna keep growing, I think in the news, we might hear of something opening similarly in our neighborhood pretty soon as well. Just as an FYI. Okay, so the Cambridge Armory or other favorite topic on the neighborhood.
Thanks, Eric. This is Inder, Senior Project Manager of Neighborhood Strategy at the EDC. Thanks for having us back. It's been a couple months since we provided you all with an update, and since then we've had a lot of conversations. We've held a workshop, a couple of virtual info sessions. So we're here to kind of provide you with an update of everything we've heard to this point and let you know what's to come in the coming months. I have a presentation I'd like to share, but I can't share it. So
Jade or Carla, can you allow him to share his presentation?
Jade, can you make him a co-host?
Yes, doing that now.
Thank you.
And there, do you have the option to share your screen now?
I do. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Jay.
All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So just move ahead. So just a reminder of where we're at. We're transitioning from phase 3 into phase 4. So we started off this process with understanding the existing conditions of the neighborhood. That informed our discussion around community values and needs, and that was really the central focus of workshop 1. Then we moved on to possibilities for the armory, which was based on the community needs and community values that we did in phase 2. So workshop number 2 focused on those possibilities, and we're going to present sort of what we heard from folks around possibilities for the armory and what their priorities are. And then moving forward, phase 4 is going to focus on the trade-offs for the armory. So the third workshop is going to be more discussion based. So there's going to be a large group facilitated discussion and small group facilitated discussions where we take everything we've heard to this point, along with some of the technical analysis that EDC is conducting, present that information to the group and really understand what the priorities are and sort of what people really want to see up at the top of the vision document and what are things that are kind of maybes or things we would consider moving forward, but aren't necessarily priorities. And then phase 5 is the launch of the vision document, and that's likely to happen sometime in May. So to this point, we've had about 2 workshops, 8 hours of workshop time in total. Between the 2 workshops, over 400 people have showed up. Amongst those 400, over 250 have filled out worksheets with their ideas around community strengths, values, and possibilities for the Armory. In addition to the workshop, we've held 10 focus groups. We've also had 4 community working group meetings, and not listed here, we've also received to date over 300 online survey responses. So we've heard from close to, if not more than 1,000 people up to this point. And some of the emerging themes that we've heard. So in terms of community assets and strengths, people listed that the people, creativity, diversity, the borough's rich history, the green spaces and local organizing power are the key assets that the community possesses. And from that, the community values uplifting local entrepreneurs and workers, prioritizing youth, but also fostering intergenerational relationships by welcoming older adult community and allowing people to age in place, putting the Bronx on the map, and then maximizing community ownership and wealth generation. And then we took that and asked folks, all right, based on these values and based on these core strengths, what are some priority value or uses that reflect those values? And people came up with ideas that fit into these 6 buckets: recreation and entertainment, community gathering and organizing, state-of-the-art cultural engagements and attractions, hub for local and small businesses, training and education center, and health and fitness. And amongst these 6 buckets, there are ideas for things that may generate revenue and be sort of a business use, and then other uses that might be more community serving and intended to be free or affordable to the community. So some of the ideas that people came up with around recreation and entertainment is around food and beverage, specifically food halls, spaces for local food vendors, a community kitchen that could bring entrepreneurs together, but also serve the community, restaurants and rooftop bars, a farmer's market, cooking classes, and a grocery store. Entertainment ideas included dedicated spaces for games, movie screenings, and a movie theater. And then for community gathering and organizing, folks mentioned, we've heard a lot about having a community center, and specifically a community center that provides childcare facilities, events and program space, community organizing space, and just meeting rooms, adult daycare centers, and community fairs and celebrations. And then another idea is around libraries that can support things like book clubs, providing young people with a safe space to hang out, can house after school programs and tutoring programs, and also a space that facilitates storytelling and talks and presentation of oral history. And then, of course, an event space, whether it's using the rooftop for rooftop events, or a space that can be used for occasions and celebrations, such as a graduation or any big community gathering or event. And then open and free public spaces. So spaces that provide a lounge and break rooms, specifically for young people to do homework, to hang out with one another, essentially a safe space to hang out, and then green spaces where people can breathe. And then cultural engagements and attractions. The big ideas around a museum, either a museum that focuses on the history of the Bronx and the Armory, the people, arts in the Bronx, and these exhibits can provide interactive and more video-based, and then you could have guided tours of the Armory. So preserving the history of the Armory through its redevelopment. And then spaces for visual arts, such as art galleries, a community mural, and shows and events. And then spaces for studio and class spaces, so music studios, art studios, craft studios, and spaces for outdoor classes. And then, of course, spaces for performing arts, so a concert venue, indoor space for performing arts, spaces for dance, music, and art, and then, of course, an outdoor space for performing arts, whether it's on Reservoir Avenue or out on the rooftop. And then another big idea that we've heard, or a big theme, is a space for small businesses and local entrepreneurs. So spaces for collaboration, maker spaces and studios with shared equipment. So things like a 3D printer, or even a commercial kitchen that folks could come together, share the equipment and the materials, and be able to scale up from there. And then a public event space that can host either large conventions or a gathering space for Bronx businesses to come together and strategically plan together and all of that. And then multi-purpose spaces. And then also a space that helps grow industries that the community is interested in. And these are some of the industries that we've heard a lot about: trade and construction, a space that can foster innovation within that space, sustainable food and agriculture, green economies, so solar, renewable energy and things like that. And then fabrication and light manufacturing, having the equipment in place so that young entrepreneurs and new businesses have a place where they can start out and eventually scale up and start their own business elsewhere in the Bronx. And then, of course, training and education centers. So having tutoring and study rooms, presentation and lecture halls, and collaborative spaces. And then, of course, hands-on tech training spaces. So it ties into sort of the hub for small businesses, where you're using the maker spaces and the studios with shared equipment to provide hands-on training for folks, and things like apprenticeships and so on. And then finally, we've heard a lot about recreation. So having a space, an indoor space for people to focus on their health and fitness, whether it's a gym. We've heard about swimming pools. We've heard about an indoor track, and also places that support wellness. So mental health services, physical movement studios, yoga, meditation, and physical health services. So taking all of this information, we're going to continue our community engagement. So this month, we're having a discussion with the Merchants Association on Kingsbridge Road to better understand some of the challenges that they're facing and how the Armory can either support them in addressing those challenges or not make those challenges even worse. We're meeting with Theory 9 and Bragg, which will be a great conversation to really understand dynamics in the neighborhood and how the Armory can be an economic asset and a community asset to address some of the issues around gun violence in the Bronx. The congressman is holding, Congressmember Espaillat is holding a town hall at Our Lady of Angels Church on February 26th, right after Mass. I believe it starts at 1:30. And then on February 28th, we'll be doing a focus group with faith-based institutions across the Bronx. And then we'll be leading a community tour of the Brooklyn Army Terminal, which is an example down in Brooklyn of a space that's been redeveloped to support manufacturing, specifically advanced manufacturing, which is something we've heard from the community repeatedly throughout this process. And then in March, continuing the focus group, we'll be talking to Community Board 8's Economic Development Committee on March 7th, meeting with some students from the Bronx Academy for Software Engineering on the 9th. And then we have our third public workshop on the 18th. Location is still to be decided, but we'll keep you all updated as more information becomes available. And then, of course, we have our ongoing engagement, including community working group meetings. Throughout February and March, every Friday, we're going to be holding virtual office hours. So it's open to the public. You just need to register for a Zoom link. You hop on a Zoom and can talk about anything related to the Kingsbridge Armory. It's a way for people who haven't been able to attend the workshops, but are hearing about all the work that's being done around the planning of the Kingsbridge Armory, and for them to provide some input, ask questions, and share some ideas. And then, of course, we'll be coming in and talking to you all at CB7, as long as you all are willing to have us. So that concludes our presentation of findings and next steps.
But that was a lot of information. Thank you.
Wow, it's right. Yes.
Now it's the task to fit all of that into one building, right?
Yeah, I mean, fitting into one building, but having the conversations to really negotiate all the disparate types of information that we've received. So there'll be a lot of fun conversations, but we're looking forward to it because we're getting close to the finish line. It's just, that final stretch will be difficult, and sort of getting all the different perspectives into one cohesive vision and a set of goals that'll inform the redevelopment of the Armory.
And
Yeah,
Eric,
well,
the idea also is not everything will fit into the building, right? So we have to have a conversation about prioritization and making sure that what we hear are the priorities from the community on uses are things that we can capture in the request for proposal that would be at the end of this.
right. It sounds like a lot of ideas that the community has shared. It's a lot of overlapping and a lot of multi-purpose spaces that can be flexible to allow, right, the community to use it as in different scenarios. But definitely people, I think, sounds like people want it to be like a destination place where they could go eat and enjoy themselves and watch a concert and movies. And I think that the community deserves all that and more, for sure. So thank you for the information. Anybody from the committee have any questions or comments or ideas?
I have a question. Oh, go ahead.
Yes. Go ahead, Sandra.
I just want to ask, does it come up? Because I know we've heard in the past, we certainly need some type of revenue generating stream here. Of all the ideas you mentioned, where do you feel that this may come from for the operator or the person who's running the Armory?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely come up, and I think that's really a consensus point of view that the space is big enough to hold community spaces, but there has to be that anchor tenant that generates revenue to keep the space operating. And just based on some of the things that we presented, ideas like an event space and concert venue, for instance, can be that space that one can be used by the community, but also generate revenue through shows and such. And you would then have someone who can maintain the Armory overall. We've heard ideas around film and TV studios. So there is a growing market for film and TV studios within New York City. So looking at the Armory for potential around that. And then gaming is something else that's come up, and tech as well. So, we've been hearing some of those ideas from the community, but also we've been having conversations with specific industries to really understand what their needs are and understand whether the Armory can be a good fit for a certain industry that can come in as an anchor tenant. So yeah, I think it's an overall consensus that there needs to be a revenue generator within the Armory.
Thank you.
Barbara?
Since you have a wide variety of activities, but that you've listed, are you looking to attract more than one developer for this project? Or just one, like what happened last time?
We want to maintain flexibility and creativity. So we don't want to limit it to just one developer. However, we are open to one developer coming in with a great idea that can be financed. But just based on these conversations, we're exploring different options in which we can RFP the site. So whether it's one developer, multiple developers, and those questions or those answers will become more clear as we reach the end of this visioning process and really have a cohesive vision and set of goals, and then determining the best way and the best approach to achieving those goals, whether it's trying to attract one developer or being able to bring in multiple developers and basically condo out the Armory.
Okay, that's good, because I worked on the last project, and it was very disappointing when things just flopped and there was no place to try to get things going again because there was only one developer at that point.
Right.
Right. All right, so the next workshop that everyone can attend is March 18. And do you have a link for the virtual office hours where people can sign up?
Yeah, Nate, do you have that link on hand that you can post?
Yeah, I do. I'll put it in the chat right now.
So in case someone wants to, have a conversation with you guys about their ideas as well. But they all seem very good and relevant to me. From Syria, you have a question.
Yes, I have a question for the next steps for the community outreach. The Merchants Association discussion and the Dairy 9 Bragg discussion, are they open to the general public? Are these closed meetings? Especially the Merchants Association discussion.
These are intended to be closed discussions specifically with merchants along the Kingsbridge Road. So we've been holding a series of smaller group discussions with different stakeholders. So small businesses, we've held one with like the universities and colleges, healthcare institutions. So really digging deep into like some of the more specific stakeholders that operate in and around Kingsbridge.
Syria, if you want to sign up for an office hours, you're welcome to do it. And then the town hall meeting is another opportunity, the town hall on February 26th at Our Lady of Angels. But if there's anything on your mind and before that you want to talk to us, sign up for office hours. We'd be happy to have you.
Okay, thank you. I definitely will.
Awesome. Yeah, I encourage everyone to sign up and attend the public workshop. Any other questions or comments? Well, Inder, if you can share this with Carla and Jay and myself, there's a lot here to digest. And then maybe I could sign up for a virtual office.
Will do.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, y'all.
Thank you, everybody.
And we'll see you hopefully next month. If you have anything to share, we'll keep you posted when the date is. All right, anyone here from HPD?
It's just me.
Okay, just Anna. Thank you, Anna. Anna, you're staying the whole meeting. Thanks.
I mean, I was I was waiting to see if anyone had any questions, so that's why I stayed.
Okay.
So, but if you guys don't need me, I can go.
You're welcome to stay as long as you like.
Oh, how long is this meeting?
We should be going through the agenda pretty soon. Anyone from DCP? I see that we have a new member.
Hi, it's me, Cesar Delgado.
Hi, Cesar.
I have no items, just wanted to introduce myself. Nice to meet you all.
Okay, so you're gonna be the person attending the meetings?
Yes, I will be joining you, hopefully every meeting of land use, and I will try to stay until the end.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thank
So I guess the biggest topic that we have with city planning at this moment is the Fordham Landing. I don't know if you have any updates on that particular project.
Well, we have no updates. I mean, we are working together with the applicant team to do the reviews. As of now, we don't have a particular item that we would like to bring up.
Can we ask you if you can find out if there is a phase 1 on the site?
I can definitely ask that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so you don't know a formal application hasn't been filed with city planning, you're saying, right?
And this is Fordham Landing South, correct?
Yeah, I think it's a 320 Fordham Road. 320 West Fordham Road, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's my understanding that we are already reviewing certain drawings and we are working with the applicant in doing the pre-cert process.
Mhm.
That is what I'm aware of.
Okay. All right, and then I guess another question that I had for you, maybe we can discuss next month is, I see, I was looking in the city planning along with the mayor's announcement of converting a lot of these office buildings into housing. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that the next meeting. Or how city planning is changing the regulations to allow that to happen.
Okay, I will try to have something. So it's how the Department of City Planning is taking action on how the mayor is trying to convert office into housing.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Sandra, you had any other questions?
No, I think
No.
that's it there.
Siri, you had a question?
I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but my
Mhm.
question was, I was under the impression that there was gonna be some kind of update on Sam's building there on Webster Avenue. That they were gonna do a presentation, and that's what I thought I got paperwork with or something.
That got tabled for now.
That's tabled for now? All right, thank you
Yes,
so much.
the applicant has requested to withdraw the application as of right now.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Did they provide details on what it was going to be, or?
They did, we had, they spoke about a very high number of supportive housing units, over 80. And some of the ideas that they wanted to bring into the community, but we basically said we already have a lot of that. Maybe you guys need to reconsider some of that.
Because they were considering it for an annex for the 52nd precinct. That's why I was inquiring.
We expressed that to the developer, to the sponsor. But so they said that they were not ready to present.
Eric, I see AJ has posted something that there was an 11-story building planned and filed. It was in YIMBY, I guess. Is that the one that was withdrawn? It was in the Norwood News. AJ, are you there?
Yes, everybody. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you. Was that
I live.
something?
Yes, ma'am. I saw in the Norwood News
Okay.
and somewhere else, it was the permits already filed. I didn't hear anything about those permits being denied or anything, or any conclusion besides it being filed. Like Mr. Serio said, it was just, this is coming, and then everybody disappeared. Because there was construction people around there a lot, and that whole block is being torn up down by the former gas station, not the BP, and then down towards the corner again. All those buildings are being torn down, so everybody's a little panicked. Especially you hear 11 stories right across the street from the school in the 52nd. It's kind of scary.
Right.
Okay, that was not an impression that we got from the sponsor, but we'll follow up.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Yeah, but we did express the things that the committee has been talking about, the community board has been talking about for a while. Edgar, you have a comment?
Yeah, this is in reference to Fordham Landing. If I'm not mistaken, the conversation I heard was that there's a part of it that was zoned as residential, and there's most of it that's zoned industrial. From what I understand, the stuff that they're progressing with is the area that's considered residential, because they don't have to worry about rezoning and repurposing. Because like the cleanup thing was an old industrial property that they were concerns about seepage into the ground, because I know that's been for many years, because of the baseball field that's there, that they were concerned about if there was any pollutants still from the previous industrial stuff that was there.
Yes, I believe 320 West Fortnum Road is the south side of the bridge,
Right.
which is already rezoned to an R7 too.
Right.
Right. The north side of the bridge, I think that, not sure what's happening with that, but I think that, Cesar, you were talking specifically about the south side, right? Correct?
Yeah, I was talking specifically to the south side.
Yes. Right.
Hi, Eric. It's Myrna.
Hi,
Calhoun.
Myrna.
Hi. So, maybe at the next meeting we could have a real presentation on what's really being planned on the Landing Road site. Maybe HPD could really fill us in because, especially where I'm, Fordham Hill, we're going to be directly affected by whatever they put there. So it'd be nice to have a meeting to talk about that. I know we're all talking about the armory, but this is something we know they're breaking ground, they're doing all kinds of things. And I think the community really has a right to really know what's going on, and the community should be engaged.
Right. I agree with you, Myrna. It's time. We have not seen a presentation by this group of developers.
Sorry to interrupt. Hi, sorry to
Yes,
interrupt
Jahira.
everybody. It's me, Jahira, Chair.
Hi, Jahira.
So just to keep everybody a little bit at ease on the Fordham Landing project, we will be having a site visit again, and this will be done in early March. We are not going to, we're not going to consider anything coming in until we do the site and know exactly what the next things are going to be, and they're presented to us, and then we'll circulate it to everybody. So once the site visit is done and we have a better understanding as to what has gone on, whether they've gone back to the drawing board, we will let everybody know.
Thank you, Jahira.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, as you can hear, Cesar, we're very anxious to know what's going on there. So if you can provide us some information at the in the March meeting, we will appreciate it.
And that's March 14th, Eric?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, that's what it says. Okay.
Eric,
Yeah.
okay. So, but would it need to be the like you want the applicant to present the project already, or would it work if it's just a presentation?
No, from what
I think
I'm
that's
gathering,
premature.
From what I'm
Yeah.
gathering, you guys are not ready to present was the actual project, right? You're just kind of doing studies right now?
Yeah.
Right.
It's still in
So
studies.
right, you're just doing studies like solar, like air, like that's why I guess having a phase one, if you have a phase one, that will kind of help know for us to know what's more or less what you're looking at too, right? But from what I understand, yes, you're just doing studies of what can happen there, yeah, right?
Exactly.
I'm sure if there is a phase one, if there's already a brownfield cleanup program, because that indicates that, the phase one dictated that it needs either a phase two and additional cleanup, so.
Right.
Mhm.
So, yeah, just any information you can provide, I guess that will be beneficial.
All right.
But we
Understood.
understand that it's not an actual presentation of what's happening or what's going to be built or what the future of that property will look like.
Understood. I'll do my best on bringing in as much as I can.
Although at the end, that is all we want to know, what's going to be there.
Okay.
Yes. Well, thank
All right.
you and welcome to CB7.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you all.
All right, we're gonna move on to anyone here from CCHR. No, okay, so the next meeting day will be March 14, 2023. And any items that we would like to see in the agenda for next month for certain Fordham Landing, right? And we will continue that discussion with the Kingsbridge Armory.
Sam's.
And Sam's Carpet. What's really going on with that?
I have an item, Eric. It's
Yes.
not, it's sort of related to land use, but I know there's been it's a very, very big problem of, even though cannabis stores are legal, but you need a license for it. And like, for instance, in Manhattan, there's one store that has a license and 1,400 stores that are selling it. And I don't know what the numbers are in the Bronx, but it's interesting because now they plan to go after the owners of the stores that are being rented and used for this purpose. We already had that years ago. It was called a redback, where like owners of apartment buildings were allowing drug sales to go on years ago. So the owner would be taken to court. It's going to be something similar like that. So it's kind of a land use item, but and maybe we could loop in the health, committee. But I've been hearing a lot about this, and I actually know the general counsel for the New York State Department of Office of Cannabis Management. And these stores all over the Bronx, I know a dozen of them or so, I've heard of them. You don't know what is in the product. It's not regulated. It could have dangerous. I remember we had the K2 was going on in CB7. So there are, I know of a few places in CB7. So this is maybe something we could look into, because it will not really relate to land use, but in essence, the owners of the stores that are allowing this to openly go on. People can charge it on their charge card or debit cards. It's just because it's okay, now it's legal in New York, but those are not regulated. So
right.
I would like to see if we can, see, look at Myrna, they're popping up everywhere. Yeah, so even Alvin Bragg, the DA in Manhattan, is making this a signature item that he's very concerned about it. So I think for our board, we've already had the K2 item where people were getting sick and things like that. I think we should look into it as it relates to the locations of the stores and the real estate owners and the health department. So
okay, yeah, that's something definitely we can look at. Maybe we can even talk to the Bronx Chamber of Commerce. Maybe they have something about that.
Right, or we can reach out to the DA's office and yeah, I'll see what I can find out to bring it. Just an item there.
Eric, I would just like to add on the same topic that we have one on 2/4, right off Decatur Avenue, High Cloud.
Oh,
When the community complained to the local police department, they said they could not go in there and do anything about it. It has to be the sheriff's office.
I
So
see.
I think there's some confusion yet as to, what they can do to stop these illegal places.
I
And who's
understand
regulating?
it's a state problem. It's the state. So that's what I'm hearing. So, but as a board, we should be able to get some answers.
Okay.
Hi, so we have been in conversations with the Office of Cannabis Management, and it seems like this is something that was legalized, and they don't have all the tools, procedures in place for it to roll out in the way it was supposed to. So I think they're working backwards a little bit in terms of addressing everything. So they legalize it, and I think if we are a body that is very civically engaged, if we are a little bit almost in the unknown of what is happening, I cannot imagine like who else is really unaware that they have to apply for a permit, or the things that they have to do or don't have to do, or the fact that they have to notify the board to get some sort of letter of
support.
Of support from the board's office. And so I think there is a lot of miscommunication out there. And we are working with the Office of Cannabis Management just so we can get informed into what is the role of the community board in this. And just as someone mentioned in the chat, it will be pretty similar to the liquor licenses. But there's a lot of details that we have to iron out when it comes to that.
But for sure, I did hear from that office. For sure, they get a letter from the state of approval. If you go into a store and they're selling an unregulated product and they don't have a letter, they're not allowed to operate. So that's
Right.
very clear. If they don't have that letter from the
Maybe
state,
that's
they
what,
can't.
maybe we can continue those conversations with Carla and maybe have a little, like an info session of what you need to do to actually become a legal seller, right?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, we do want our communities to thrive, and if they're able to get a legal license and sell it, why not, right?
Right.
So maybe that's the way we should look at it in terms of those conversations, Carla. We'll talk offline.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. We will follow up to make sure that everyone is informed and that we are informed as well, but also the public is informed of what rules and regulations they should be following. But there's, I think everyone is just learning from the process as it develops, and that is what's happening right now.
Gotcha. Sarah, you have a comment about this?
Yes, this is a typical example of an idea that was not thought out thoroughly. This is one of many ideas that are failing. This is the cannabis thing with the marijuana. This all should have been in place before they even made it legal. They should have had this all written out and in place, and how people are supposed to distribute it and grow it, etc. This is the same problem we have with the e-bikes and cycles that are now all over the sidewalks, right? They're legal, but that does not mean legally written on sidewalks where people are walking. This is the same problem with bail reform. What happens to people who are anti-society and want to break the law constantly when they're allowed back on the streets and stuff? This is all these regulated rules that we want to change to make the people happy and satisfied, but there is no heavy-handed direction on how to handle people who don't know how to be respectful to each other. And that's why we have this major problem. And I sit back, and I hate to say it, I sit back and I laugh at it.
You bring up a good point about the e-bikes, because these
Yes,
batteries,
see what
as
I
an
mean?
owner
And
manager
thank you, dear.
of
Thank you.
affordable housing, we're very concerned about it. And the legitimate batteries are fine. It's the off-market batteries that are very dangerous. That's definitely a housing
But
issue.
it's the way, but it's
So-
also the way that they allow people to like ride them without any kind of permit or insurance and stuff, and that's not fair to the public.
Yes.
Anything that's not a two-wheel pump bike should be registered and licensed. That's the way it should have been. It should have been thought out thoroughly. Now you got all these knuckleheads going backwards, going down one-way streets and everything. We all know, we all witnessed it. You hear the
Yes,
horror stories. And I want to thank you for letting me bring this to your attention. I appreciate that.
Vent.
That was a venting session, Serial.
Yes.
But these are all topics that we can definitely we're gonna keep talking about, and we can bring up to elected officials at our next meeting very soon.
I know, can I indulge another minute just with an update? Everyone probably knows that ERAP sunset, it did sunset on January 20th at 9 p.m. So even though anyone who did file an application before that has a year's cannot be evicted. But I will say that January 20th at 9 p.m. And they were out of money before that. But the good news is for tenants that are struggling is that HRA is granting one-shot deals and helping people out that need it. So, unfortunately, there's people that stopped paying the rent, which makes it hard because then it's not enough money for other people that may need it more. But really, I'm not seeing it. There's more court action now, but generally speaking, with the right to counsel, and there are people are getting help in court. In fact, some people will call and say, "Can you take me to court so I can get help with the balance? I have my job back and now I can pay, but I need help with the balance." So that is happening. There's a lot of help in the housing court for people.
That's good news.
Okay.
All right. Anything else from anybody? Any other topics? Well, we have a lot to work with, right, Carla and Jay? All right, well, if no other topics, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, Sandra.
Seconded, Barbara.
Thank you. Have a
Happy
good night,
Valentine's
everybody.
Day, everyone.
Yes, happy Valentine's Day, and thank you for
Okay.
coming to be our Valentine here.